real quick. Hello. If we started, I think there was a false start on my YouTube, but hey, everybody, apologies. We're back. For some reason, it just started, even though it said it was starting. Hey, we're here in Vegas. There are some technical problems. I'm here with Steph, and I was just introducing our special guest today on our show, Mr. Taj Jackson, Michael Jackson's nephew, who was sharing about the parallels that's happened to sort of his uncle and Johnny. And as you just said, which I thank you for bringing it up, the parallels of finally people realizing, oh, wait, what I thought was wrong. Also, it's Kim is here. Welcome, Kim. Thank you for all your work today. We're gonna go through clips, but before we get to these clips, Taj, yeah, I mean, just to have you elaborate a little bit more on that, it is really fascinating because as we've followed this trial for a while, right, Steph? And I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Johnny's a mess. He shouldn't do this. It's a mutual thing. Blah 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 blah. But as they've finally done the homework, which I've been telling people all week, do the homework on Michael Jackson. Go watch Square One. Go watch the Lies of Leaving Neverland. When you go down those circles, you start those wormholes. You realize, crap, I really had a complete wrong idea about the truth. But are you feeling it now too? Finally, when that terrible fake hit piece documentary that came out on HBO from fraud director Dan Reed, I'll say it. When that came out, it really just sunk everything. But I feel like people have finally wised up. There seems to be people who are starting to say, you know what? Do we believe these two people? Are you starting to feel a little bit of vindication for your uncle, for Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I am. That hit piece was a hit piece. It was designed that way. I mean, how many false accusers or quote unquote victims do you know that have a billboard photo shoot and a media blitz, while it's coming out in that way? It was designed to destroy my uncle's career. It was designed perfectly in time so that you couldn't question anything, even though they had not one single thread of evidence, tangible evidence. You just had to believe victims. And they use the word victims. And I know you guys talk about this as well. The word victims, a triggered word in that way. It's already prejudiced in that way.
Yeah.
So I always like to use the word accuser in that way, but the media loves the word victim because already it puts you in that mindset that someone, that Michael did something wrong to these people.
Yeah, well said. And thanks for being here and speaking out against the people and the false stuff. All week we've been talking about it, and we'll continue to talk about it because I just, while we're so many of you getting deep in this case, and I think a lot of you were surprised about the outcome and what's happening. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? Perfect time to really talk about Michael more often and try to help sway some more people who are maybe thinking the wrong thing or thinking, oh, he was a creep. No, there's a lot more we've talked about, and we'll get into detail that a lot of what you were told was the media do. And honestly, we're seeing it now with Johnny Depp. There are so many channels, Taj, who are jumping on the bandwagon right now to cover this trial just completely post complete false. Amber was ejected from court, and Amber and it's like it's all bullshit, and everyone's just trying to get that quick salacious title. And when Jordan Chandler came, really his father forced his son to come forward against Michael, and that became such a big deal. They were literally Inside Edition, all these outlets were paying, hey, we'll give you $200,000 if you say Michael did this. Hey, we'll give you this if you say that. And all these people came out with financial motives to try to call it out. And again, watch the documentary. Square One does a really good job of breaking down the real details of every accusation. But yeah, you're seeing it, I'm sure, with Johnny Depp too. A lot of these salacious media outlets just trying to torch him because they think, or lie about things just to get some clicks.
Yeah, well, I'm happy that the public is seeing it finally in that way. It's one of those things that we have been complaining about all the time is the media. I mean, the media really has it in for Johnny in a way. You even saw the first day in court, they changed it around and they tried. They literally tried, but the public opinion was so strong that they're slowly trying to kind of backpedal in a way. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, but the typical Hollywood press was very, very unfair about the trial when it came to Johnny Depp in that way. And we've dealt with that with Michael constantly in that way with my uncle. It's just been very frustrating, but that's what I love about, the public is when they do their homework, they come around in that way, and then they tell someone else and they tell someone else, and it spreads and the truth spreads. And I love that aspect of it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here because we're going to go through the highlights of today's trial, and I can't wait to get some of your insight, Taj, as you watch, since you've seen a lot of this through. All right, so let's get to it. So, Kim, thanks again. Our first, we posted a video early today. We had 2 of the officers who came in first to the penthouse after Amber called the police and made those allegations. Both of those officers came through and saw nothing. They saw no evidence that there was actually anything physical. They looked at Miss Heard. There was nothing on her, and Amber wasn't very friendly to them or helpful to them, wasn't offering to give them anything. All of it very weird, and it goes against the testimonies that she's put out later to try and switch the story. And these witnesses are police officers who are there to try to find what's wrong. Very credible, very, seemingly Elaine on Amber's side just kept trying to discredit them. At one point, Kim, as you pointed out, it seemed like they tried to threaten the cop. You got that vibe too, right? You do know that if you say something wrong, you can 100%. Lose your license. It was a really bizarre thing. But you can go watch those clips. I want to get to the body cam footage. We're going to get to that next. We didn't play it this morning. Anything else to set this up, Kim, before we play that?
Not really. I think we do have one theme of today, though, and that's that everyone had kind of had enough of Elaine, and we're going to see that all day.
They had enough. All right, here. I hope the audio is better. I did figure out a way to turn it a little bit back up, so bear with me on the audio levels. That's bane of my existence. I'm stuck with what I have, but let me know if the audio. I did turn it up a bit, so I hope that helped. And if we're all leveled out, or if anybody's a little quieter, let me know, and I'll try and equalize as we're live. So just give me that feedback, and or give me the thumbs up. Here we go. The first clip of the day that we're going to watch is some of this body cam. Now, it's a lot here, Clint. We can sort of talk through some of it, correct?
Who Johnny Depp was at that time?
Yeah.
And were you a fan of Johnny Depp's as of May 21, 2016?
I guess I liked a couple of his movies. I don't know. I'm not like rushing out to go see him or anything. I don't know.
Are you a fan of Johnny Depp's today?
I can remember the last movie I saw of his.
Did you know who Amber Heard was as of May 21, 2016?
I was aware that there was an actress by the name of Amber Heard, but I was not totally familiar with any of her work.
When you saw the name Amber Heard on the incident recalls, did it register with you that she was an actress?
No.
Did you recognize Amber Heard when you came to the apartment on May 21, 2016?
No.
Ouch.
Ouch.
All right, so here is the body cam. We can talk a little bit over this. Now, we've seen this before, but it's very telling because this is supposed to have glass everywhere, right, Kim? And a lot of stuff that's supposed to be all over this apartment that the officers are showing up to. Now, this was the second set of officers. I guess it was an hour or so afterwards, right, Kim?
Yes.
And
there were 2 calls that were made. So there was one set of officers that went for the first call, and then another set of officers that went for the second call. So this is the second call.
Okay, and the second call shows up and actually was recording, and she made it sound like there was just a tornado in that room, damage and everything. And as we are about to see as we enter this room, sure doesn't look like that.
No.
You guys had somebody come out here earlier? Okay.
Do we know who this is?
I believe the man at the door is Josh Drew. I think. And then he will let them in a moment. There's the question of we want to see your wife, and he clarifies, no, she's not my wife. And then they go inside.
I'll go get the business card from the cops. Just because we got another call and we came again, we still got to make sure.
It's just weird. Let him in.
Yeah.
We got another call and we came again, we still
Something screwy already at the beginning of this as they get there.
Yeah.
And then they're I don't know, they're hiding something, doing something's up. And now here we are in the room that's supposed to be all carnage. And all these officers have attested there was no sign of violence or anything broken. I think Amber's team's trying to say we cleaned it up. Bullshit. Bullshit. They're walking through the room. You can see through the kitchen where all the glass was supposed to be shattered. Okay, maybe they did sweep up some glass, but you'd think if this was...
Okay. Who's Amber? You? Okay. And Johnny is definitely not.
It doesn't look trash to me at all.
And they're like, you're Amber. Okay, and they didn't even know it was Johnny Depp. They're like, Johnny something. He's not here right now.
All right, cool. Everything's all good then? All right. Well, if you guys need anything else, just call
Everything's
back.
all good.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know, man. That's a little weird. Everything's all good. The story she painted later after all the drama sure changed the story. And there you go. We get that body cam footage. Now, do they ask him some stuff? She verifies with him some more? Or is it? Do we want to play this, Kim?
You disagree with my
Just a few other little
description of
things.
this picture.
Just confirming
No,
that there was no
stating
DP.
that I didn't observe that when I was inside the apartment.
Are you able to testify whether Amber Heard was the victim of domestic violence by Mr. Depp on May 21, 2016?
Based on our investigation, it appeared as if she was not.
Your investigation of what?
Based on her refusing to give any statement on what had occurred, and at the time, we did not observe any visible or verifiable injuries to her.
So did you interview any of the 3 other individuals in the apartment?
No.
Did you ask any of the individuals to give you a statement?
I believe the female that was sitting in the middle of the 3 told us that everything was fine and that the other officers had already conducted an investigation on the incident prior to our arrival.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because Elaine's trying to just basically negate it. Well, you didn't talk to other people, so you might have missed something, right? She's just grasping at straws here.
The officers who had responded a couple hours before us had conducted the investigation. Our call is still stemming from that incident, and there had been no change in the circumstance since then.
I'm asking whether you're in a position as a police officer to testify under oath that Johnny Depp did not commit any abuse of Amber Heard on
What a
May 21,
stretch.
2016.
I don't believe I'm in the position
good
to
answer.
testify whether he did or did not because I was not there when the incident potentially occurred.
Your next witness, Alejandro Romero.
My name.
Okay, if you want to pause it, Andy.
We'll pause. So, but just before we jump to the Alejandro, again, and I'll get your thoughts, Taj, but it's like Elaine, Amber's representative, lawyer, just seems to be stretching and finding whatever they can to say, well, so you can't deny that it didn't happen, right? As you watch this, what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, to agree. I think that's what they try to do is keep the realm of possibility open. And as it collapses, the evidence that Johnny has collapses their house, basically. They still want to keep that little glimmer of hope of hopefully persuading the jurors to think, well, there's that little bit of percentage that he did do it in that way.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. Oh, so it must not happen, right, Steph? Because you didn't see it. So that's always it's only argument they've had. Whereas what's so frustrating is Johnny's bringing body cam footage that goes against what Amber said, and all this credibility issues that they've been unleashing, and we're still not getting anything from Amber aside from, well, you don't know that it didn't happen, right? Steph, thought before I move on to the next clip.
Well, do you know what? I saw a pig flying across the sky the other day, but you know what? It happened. You can't prove that it didn't happen. So in the realms of possibilities, you guys.
Yeah, it must have happened.
Yeah,
I don't know if it didn't happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, there it is. Kim, all right, you want to set the next one? Oh, sorry, Josh, go ahead if you have something.
I do, because that's a great point that you guys brought up, and that's one of the most frustrating things for me when it comes to Michael's thing. It's like, well, you weren't there, so you can't prove that it didn't happen. And I think that's where credibility comes in. And that's a thing. It's like when it's someone's word against someone else's word, credibility is everything, and reputation is everything. If one person is known to exaggerate, lie, and all that stuff, and the other person has all these witnesses that are saying, no, that's not what happened, or that's not the person, I tend to go with that aspect as opposed to the liar. And that's where a lot of the parallels with the Johnny Depp thing is happening, is you're seeing a lot of people vouch for Johnny and saying, no, this never happened. I've never seen him do this. Even his exes and stuff like that. But then it's all of their word against Amber's word.
Yeah, I'm only sharing this because you've shared with me, so I hope it's okay to share this. But it's like, the first thing, Taj, I'm sure you hear is, well, He's your uncle. Michael Jackson's your uncle. You're not credible. But what you swayed me when you shared and opened up about your own story of abuse and how that gave you an eye to be looking for that in anybody. Even if it was your uncle, you would have known firsthand, per your own experience as you were younger and such, to know what that type of person is. And when you opened up, which we did a longer interview on Hugging the Cactus and the mods, hopefully you can share it, where he gets, it's a 2-hour interview that I highly encourage you watch. It was really, really eye-opening for me. But yeah, I mean, that helps your credibility. So sure, even though you may be related, you had an eye to look for what people are accusing your uncle of, and you knew better.
I had an eye of it. I have to clarify that it was on my mom's side, because there's people in the media that have already tried to twist it to the Jackson side of the family in that. But yeah, definitely had an eye to it. I was very aware of what it was and the devastation that it had done. And because of that, I do think that I was looking, I'm very aware of that aspect of it. And also I would never defend that.
Yeah, no, I buy it. So you sold me, and I don't think you were selling me. I think you were just being yourself, and that's again comes to what we're talking about. Credibility is important, which Amber Heard doesn't have. She has none of.
Nope, none.
All right, well, let's get to Alex. This is the energetic guest of the day, Kim.
Yes.
So who is this?
This is Alex, and my notes write that he is a legend. A legend has been born today. So he did a deposition. He did it in his car. So he is deposed by Elaine, and he is very agitated to be doing this interview. And it starts basically that Elaine shows him the clip of Johnny in the elevator being very agitated. And Alex just clarifies. He's like, yeah, no, I've seen him many times before. He's never been violent. He looks agitated there, but he's usually really calm. And that's it. So then Elaine just started berating him with questions as far as like, what did Amber look like? What happened with this? And he was just not having it. So.
Oh, good. Maybe I hope she asked about Amica cream again. We'll see. Here we go.
My name is Alejandro Romero. I go by Alex.
Do you remember what Mr. Depp was wearing?
Nope.
Do you remember what jewelry he had on?
Nope.
Do you remember what headgear he was wearing?
No.
Do you remember whether Mr. Depp was wearing any makeup or eyeliner?
Nope.
You couldn't tell me one way or the other.
No.
Do you know whether Mr. Depp had ever been physically violent with Amber Heard? Hitting, punching, throwing objects at her, kicking her, headbutting her? Do you know one way or the other whether Mr. Depp ever did that to Ms. Heard?
Nope.
Have you ever seen Mr. Depp slam things around or be angry?
No, I have never seen him like that. I just can't remember. Like I said, it's been so long. I know you guys sent me the papers to review, and I'm going to be honest, didn't want to review him because it's been so long. I just don't want to deal with this anymore. Yes, I went through the witness statement, and it's everything that is written there, that's what I said.
So, Mr. Romero, would you at any time be able to remember what type of clothing Amber Heard was wearing?
God,
Nope.
What type of hairstyle she was wearing?
Nope.
Really?
What type of...
No.
Would you be able to...
No.
What type of makeup?
No.
How about what she was wearing, what her makeup was, what her hairstyle was?
No, I probably won't remember. Whatever happened, it happened on a Saturday. I don't work Saturday. When I got there on Monday, they asked me, oh, you heard what happened? And I said, no. So that's how I find out.
Ms. Heard stood approximately 3 feet away from you. I did not notice any bruises, cuts, swelling, red marks, or any other injuries of any kind on Ms. Heard's face.
So, something like that, it will be really noticeable, but I guess I wasn't not looking. I was more focusing on what my job duties was, like getting the key, and I was talking with Raquel because her dog got out of her unit. So that was one of my concerns. That was my job, and I was just taking care of that. I was not trying to say, oh, let me see your face. No.
Do you remember what Ms. Heard was wearing?
Oh, my God.
Do you remember whether she was dressed up?
No.
Where she was coming from?
No, I don't remember. She was on the phone. She was with Raquel in front of me, and then she left to the lobby. I was focusing more on Raquel because I was telling about her dog.
Okay. Do you remember what hairstyle?
Oh, my God.
What type of makeup?
No.
Wearing concealer or foundation?
No.
Was wearing blush?
No.
Any kind of eye makeup?
No. Somebody tried to get into my unit. There's scratches on my door 4 inches above the door because the dog was scratching the door, was trying to get in, and they thought about someone trying to break into their unit. I said, on my head, you think someone's trying to get into your unit? That was the dog trying to get into the unit. And they were so afraid. Oh, someone's trying to get into my unit. They're like, oh, come on, really? And I actually, when they asked me to go inside the unit just to check room by room to make sure that no one was there. So I did that. It's part of my job, make sure they're safe. But I didn't understand why they want me to do that. I don't know. I just don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this court case. Everybody got problems, and I don't want to deal with this no more.
None of that was on video footage, correct?
Correct. That we don't have cameras in the videos. Sorry, we don't have cameras at the hallway. We don't have cameras on the hallway.
Did you see any swelling?
He can't stop laughing.
No marks at all.
And again, just to repeat, did you see any swelling on her face?
Nope.
Bruises on her?
Nope.
See any marks of any kind on her face?
No marks at all.
You don't recall seeing Amber Heard on May 24th, correct?
Oh my God, this is ridiculous.
I don't remember. I don't even remember what I got for breakfast.
Okay. Well, let's pull up
Okay.
exhibit number 1.
It's a good time to break for lunch. All right. That was a first. I'm sorry.
That was the most bizarre deposition.
Okay, all right. I've never seen that before. I've seen a lot of things, but I've just never seen
You
that.
started driving that.
Yeah, that did it.
I'm going to ask you, first of all, Mr. Presidio showed you a number of video clips.
With somebody who
Jeez,
is
all right.
well known.
Oh, that
Wow.
dude deserves a
Wow.
mega pint.
He is.
Okay, so if I could just say, our amazing editor, Mike, put that together today.
Oh,
All of you
bravo,
were
Mike.
fantastic. So much love.
Props to your mic.
Bravo, Mike.
Yeah.
Bravo. That was fantastic.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, look. Let's be honest. He's a lot of us. He's like, I'm just over. Can stop? Amber, why didn't you just own up and to tell the truth? This thing's getting so out of hand. But yeah, he was really not having it. Wait, there was a point where he drived away. Is that what was so weird? Is Elaine didn't get the joke? Like Elaine was to me the problem.
Yeah.
She kept repeating and just the same things to try to showboat, as we learned from Christopher Melcher. And then I don't even think she realized that that's what everyone was just getting bored of. It wasn't. He made it very clear he doesn't know, he doesn't care, he doesn't want to be there, and then yet Elaine just had to ask 100 times. But that was interesting. Why do you think the defense played that? I mean, sorry, Johnny's team played that to make Elaine look stupid.
Totally.
Yeah, they're
but
just
the
trying
thing,
to show that she doesn't know what she's doing.
but the thing is as well, that whole deposition with Alejandro, it completely strengthens Johnny Depp's side. Completely. You know, did you see any marks on her face? No. Did you see any bruises on her face? No. You know? Did you see this? No. Did you see that? No. Like he's very much like no. Elaine's stupid because she's asking closed questions. So that gives Alejandro the what is it just to turn around with the one word answer of no. But yeah, I think it was a big, massive, awesome play for Johnny Depp's team to actually play that tape, play that deposition. I just wonder though, Mr. Jackson, in terms of like the court case that Michael Jackson had to go through, was that something similar? Did you see anything similar like that the prosecution tried to do with him in terms of trying to showboat, ask questions in a different way to try and get the answer that they wanted, to try and catch him out, you know, things like that? Anything similar there?
Yeah, from a lot of the depositions that I've seen on my uncle, it's always the gotcha questions or the questions that, you know, trying to have him slip up on something, you know, just so that they can use a soundbite in that way, because they're really grasping at straws at that point. And it was really interesting. I am a day behind in terms of the coverage and stuff like that. So it's really interesting watching it live first time in that way. But I'm really happy that it's covered by the media, or that there's cameras there, because could you imagine if we had to rely on mainstream media to tell the truth about this trial? I mean, that's what happened with my uncle. Like, they get to spin it any way they want, and that's what the public gets to read in that way. And so what we see with our own eyes is great in that way, because we make up our own decisions.
Yeah, I just want to echo, because I rewatched Square One, so it's all fresh in my head. But it's like exactly like there's a moment where literally he's the trial that he's going through, the criminal trial which changed the laws, guys. He went through a civil court case, which then if he had played that civil case out, he would have given the people, the lawyers and everything, the whole case, and then they would have been able to figure out how to play and how to beat him. And so then the criminal case came second. And he won the case, but everyone's like, why'd you settle? That's why he settled. And what's just interesting is there was a moment during the criminal trial where they have, they have nothing. They don't want to win. And then the only thing they have left is, well, can we use the previous allegations? And that was like a big deal of like, well, can we bring that in? Can we bring that in? These that were never proven. And then that came forward, and as if it couldn't even been right. Taj, it's like, all right, fine. They did. They even then got that ridiculous request, and he still was innocent and got through those charges. Everyone who came forward, all 5 people that have come forward, if you really do the homework, were all driven by money, and they all came after Jordan Chandler. And that Jordan Chandler story with his psychotic father is so depressing, guys. It's so depressing. So open up your minds. Sorry, anything else you want to add to that, Taj?
No, and they all went either to press or to lawyers first before going to police, which tells you everything in that way, because it never happened.
And Jordan Chandler, the kid from the first accusation, would not come on Leaving Neverland. That was also very telling to me. He wouldn't do it. That was
or the court case.
Or the court case. Yeah, he was like, nope, I don't want to do it again. I'm not, because it didn't happen, guys. It was all his parents who sort of egged him on and put him on some drugs. It's a rabbit hole of information, but I think just like there's so many people that know everything about Johnny Depp now because they've done the research in that way, and just what the media tries to do is paint the picture of Johnny was out of control. Johnny was a drug addict, and they tried to make it this because he did drugs. He's capable of this in that way, and it's the same thing that they try with Michael's, like, because he's unique and eccentric, he's capable of this in that way. And the more they can paint you as a monster, the easier it is to come to that conclusion for the public in that way. And so as I've said, with the Johnny Depp case is we're really seeing we're seeing justice for Johnny, which I know is, but we're getting to see it real time in that way. Yeah, no, and just it's interesting to parallel these cases and sort of the wrongful people being claimed guilty when they're not. It's interesting to get these insights together. All right, so Kim, next clip up on question is this one from Christian Carino. Can you cue this up for us?
Sure. So he is a talent agent that worked with Johnny and Amber for quite a while, and also became a friend of theirs. So he was questioned first by Johnny's side, or I'm trying to correct that. I think, he was challenged by Elaine. He was cross-examined, and then Johnny's team took over. So there's a few clips where he talks about his perception of Depp's reputation and how it was affected.
Okay, let's play this one. Next up, here it is.
People don't want to hear they're in a lawsuit with anybody about anything, because that's just not what they want to know or hear, because the general public doesn't want to hear that people that they look up to are in litigation. The more oxygen it takes up in the overall news or coverage of an individual, and the less focused it is on that person's career, the less interested studios, brands, the general public becomes in that person.
Truth.
Have you read or heard of the Rolling Stones?
Yes.
Have you read or heard of GQ?
Yes.
Are you aware of whether this article in the Rolling Stone, June 2018...
Wait, the Rolling Stones is what she asked about. Am I crazy, Kim?
You're not crazy.
She just asked him, do you know about the Rolling Stones? And she was referring to the magazine Rolling Stone. Oh my God, she's so bad.
Here is a great opportunity to plug our public doc. We have a public doc available most days just to show our research, our note-taking, so that you understand why we're coming to the conclusions that we're coming to. And if you have questions about it, you're welcome to do your own research and take a look and see what we're talking about. And in there, one of our note takers, Linda, added a section for definitions. So if people are confused, especially with the disorders that we're talking about and everything, it's there. So in the public doc today, the Rolling Stones and Rolling Stone are both now separately defined for sake of confusion.
Jesus. Oh my God, she's first the Amica cream. She makes so many blunders. It's just so embarrassing. But all right, we're talking about Rolling Stone, the magazine. Sorry, I have to clarify because the lawyer isn't clear.
That's reflected in Carino exhibit number 2, impacted in a negative way Mr. Depp's reputation or career.
If you're asking my opinion about whether an article like this or this particular article, in my opinion, would have a positive or negative effect on somebody's career, I could potentially answer that. But as to definitively whether an article has or has not had an impact on somebody's career, nobody can answer that question.
Were you aware of this litigation being filed by Mr. Depp against Bloom, Hergott, Demer, etc.?
Yes.
Were you involved in any way in this litigation?
No.
Do you know one way or the other whether filing of and the ongoing litigation associated with this lawsuit had any negative impact on Mr. Depp's reputation and career?
I said no, Elaine.
I said no.
Carino, when I asked you whether you were aware one way or the other whether this lawsuit had a negative impact on Mr. Depp's reputation and career, you answered no. What did you mean by that?
I believe I stated that unless someone had done research specifically about the filing of this document and its impact one way or the other, it's impossible to answer the question. My opinion of what Johnny's reputation today is one of the finest actors of his generation. My opinion is that Amber's accusations would have had the most dramatic impact on his off-screen reputation. I'm not talking about any one specific accusation.
I mean, it obviously did. Absolutely did. And then
what is your?
Oh wait, are we gonna get to this? Because they're not still friends, right? Does he? Well, let's see what the. We'll just continue.
Well, there's
Go ahead.
2 other short clips just of that exchange, and then when we get to what's called request 6, we talk about Elon, but we will get there. So this is just the 2 little clips of Elaine finishing the deposition.
But Christian revealed that he's no longer friends with Amber or Johnny, was what I was trying to say,
Yes.
correct? I don't know if we're going to play that clip, but just it's interesting because they're not
We're gonna
friends.
get there.
But yeah, it's nice to see that he's still being kind and honest, you know?
Your understanding of why Mr. Depp lost Pirate 6?
My opinion is that it was related to the accusations that Amber has made.
And what is your opinion based on?
Conversations with studios and other executives, both internal and external.
What do you recall Jerry Bruckheimer telling you?
The nature of it was that the studio was having difficulty employing him.
In any of your discussions with Mr. Bruckheimer, did you ask him what Mr. Depp could do to become employable by Disney again, or to be able to get any part of any Pirates franchise going forward?
No.
Why not?
Because in cases like this, there is nothing anybody can do. It is the directive of the studio and they have the sole right to make the judgment whether they can continue to employ somebody or not.
What's so weird is all these footage is it helped Johnny. Like I don't understand why she literally just got him to admit all the problems and admit the lawsuit if he can't work because of the defamation case. That they're not hiring him because of the accusations, and he's an expert and that's what Johnny's been needing to do because we haven't seen that. But yeah, this is just strange, right? Do you want anything else to add, Kim, before I play this last one?
No, it's it just kind of, again, you just feel like you were watching Elaine run into brick walls and then back up and run back into it. I don't understand why she fixates on some of these things, because it really does make the defense look very stupid consistently. But I guess that's her choice. Choices were made here. And at the end of the day, it helps Johnny. So.
All right, let's see this last one.
Take it.
It indicated that you believe that everyone was aware that the impact of Amber's allegations were at the heart of this. Jerry Bruckheimer did not say specifically what it was that caused Disney to decide not to continue with Johnny Depp and Pilot 6 or in other matters, correct?
Correct. It was understood. So I don't recall whether either of us ever said anything specific about why, but it is something within the industry that is understood.
Can you tell me whether,
Based on your personal friendship with Miss Heard, close personal friendship with Miss Heard, would you say that she confided?
So we're going to get into the Elon. Before I was going to say, what's interesting about what's interesting about that is just like she has just no concept how Hollywood works, or just cancel culture today and everything else. It's like, of course, Disney's cutting them from that. I mean, Taj, from you've worked in the industry, you know how the industry works. Like, how silly does she look? I know, like, we're talking to a jury of people that are in Virginia. Maybe they don't know the entertainment industry, but doesn't it feel pretty common knowledge that Hollywood tries to disassociate itself from problematic actors or people going through, stuff like this?
Yeah, and they do it very quick too. They, I mean, just the hint of it, and it's like, because your liability to them at that point in that way, and it's unfair because you don't get your day of court, and in that way, I feel really bad for Johnny because he just was cut off really quickly in terms of that aspect of it, and now we're starting to see, that Disney was completely mistaken, but the damage is done.
Indeed, it happens all the time. It's super, super frustrating. All right, so now we're getting in. Did you want to add anything, Kim, to cue this before we get there?
This is now Johnny's team interviewing him, and they get into that Christian had a relationship with Johnny and Amber outside of work. They were friends, and there were things that went on, which I think probably have to do with why they're not friends anymore, but it does shed some light on the Elon Musk situation.
Ooh, all right, let's spill the tea.
Based on your personal friendship with Miss Heard, close personal friendship with Miss Heard, would you say that she confided in you?
Yes.
And what about Mr. Depp?
Yes.
Well, hang on, let me ask you this. Do you know whether or not Miss Heard ever had a relationship with Mr. Elon Musk?
Yes.
She did?
Yes.
And she says, dealing with breakup, I hate when things go public. See, I'm so sad. Having reviewed the document again, do you have an understanding of what she's referencing there?
I believe she's referring to breaking up with Elon.
You say, seems like a press release. You weren't in love with him, and you told me 1,000 times you were just filling space. What are you saying there?
I'm saying, why would you be sad if you weren't in love with him to begin with?
And by him, you're referring to who?
Elon.
Do you have an understanding one way or another whether Ms. Heard and Mr. Musk were in fact dating at the time of the San Francisco reconciliation that she asked you to set up?
I don't know whether they were dating, but they had definitely spent time together.
After the San Francisco attempted reconciliation, you gained the understanding that Elon Musk and Ms. Heard were in fact dating?
I don't know exactly how long, but not long after.
So what was your understanding of who she was referring to when she was said, here, I love him?
Johnny.
Based on this exchange, did you have an understanding at this time whether Ms. Heard wanted to reconcile with Mr. Depp?
I believe she did.
And at this point in time, she was still a close personal friend of yours, correct?
Yes.
And at this point in time, did she consider you a confidant in your understanding?
Yes.
Okay. Having read this, do you perceive this as a true copy of a text exchange between you and Ms. Heard?
Yes.
And Ms. Heard states to you, I've written so many notes. Can you give him one? I don't know how or where to start. There's no way to begin. And all I have to say, but I have so many. Finally, I am single, clear in my heart and mind. I just want him to know I loved him and that I am sorry. Do you have an understanding of who Ms. Heard is referring to here?
Yes,
And who is Ms. Heard referring to in this text?
Johnny.
What is she asking you to do here?
She was asking me to deliver a letter that she was writing to him.
And it says, and that I am sorry. What was your understanding of what she was asking you to do there, if anything?
I believe that was all in reference to getting him a handwritten letter that she was writing or trying to write.
Was it your understanding at the time of this text exchange, August 24, 2017, that Ms. Amber was attempting to reconcile with Mr. Depp?
I believe so.
And I know this may sound repetitive, but on August 20, at the time of this text, on August 24th, 2017, you and her were still close personal friends, correct?
I believe so.
There's not much here at all, Mr. Carino, but I did want to confirm that this was a document produced by you, correct, based on the bait stamp on the bottom?
Yes.
Do you see it's dated September 27th, 2017? It's a text to you that says, God, I miss him. Do you have an understanding of who Ms. Heard is referring to there?
Yes.
And who's that?
Johnny.
Wow, a lot of interesting things. So implying that the was we always knew this. I mean, it seems clear that she was sleeping on not only with Elon but James Franco. Speaking of which, teasing Friday, we're spilling the tea here with an exclusive interview of someone who knew and lived in the building with Amber during that time and can offer some serious clarity about James Franco. So, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for all alerts while you guys are watching. Smash that bell, hit the like button, and stay tuned for that tea. If any sources out there who were there during this time or know stuff and you've been watching our coverage, please reach out at Andy Signore, and I will make sure it's real, and I'm happy to parlay that on here. But Kim and Steph and Taj, reactions to that, I mean, this is more TMZ tea in a way, but it's connected in that they were in a relationship, and she was cheating on him, and I think that is, again, to her credibility of not a good person. We can't trust her. Kim, you pulled that. You were getting excited when you saw that. Like, oh my gosh, we're finally getting this confirmed. Do you feel like that sort of solidifies the rumors?
I think it does. I think it definitely gives us more insight to timelines than what we've had before. I also just think it's interesting that it seems like she was with Elon. It didn't work. She wanted Johnny back. It seems that she didn't have feelings for Elon, but went over there. We don't know what her intentions were, and I'm not going to say anything. But that I found it all very interesting, and I know people were reacting quite in an animated manner when they were hearing this testimony. So I wanted to share that with all of you.
Yeah, it's weird. The billionaire Elon Musk, who's going into space and buying Twitter, and he's just this elusive alien-like figure, and now he's in this connected thing. It's just couldn't get more bizarre, right, Taj? Does it surprise you that this thing's getting so bizarre that now Elon Musk is involved?
Did they deny the relationship? I'm not familiar with that and kind of.
There's photos. They were in a relationship. We have photos of them holding hands and being together. And there were frozen embryos that Amber was fighting for, according to whose mom was it in depositions that were told. There's a lot, and Elon refuses to be deposed because I guess he's flying to Mars. Who knows? But yeah, again, real or not, there's some clear connections here that aren't just random speculations. But again, it's just to the madness of could this trial get any more insane? Now Twitter, he's buying Twitter at the same time with a lot of people conspiracy theorying like maybe he's trying to distract and control the narrative. But we can't obviously. Who knows if that's the case? But it's. I guess the question is yes. Does it surprise you how weird it's getting?
No, I mean, the bigger the case, the more there's going to be a lot of different characters that come to the forefront in that way. And I wish that some people were forced to testify as opposed to being too busy and stuff like that, especially when someone's credibility and livelihood's on the line. I think you should be called to testify, especially if you're involved in it.
Yeah, you should. Even if you're some weird space billionaire, it shouldn't give you an excuse.
It didn't matter. In that, yeah.
Steph, any thoughts, Steph?
Yeah, I actually have a question for Mr. Jackson, because earlier on in the clips that we were looking at in this particular section, it was talking about, the impact that the accusations have had on Johnny's career, this, that, and the other.
Sorry.
Why is that happening?
It's autoplay. Let me turn on audio.
Okay, so let me start over. So earlier on, when we were looking at when we were watching the clips, there was a lot of questions in regards to these accusations affecting Johnny's career, this, that, and the other. Which I'm sorry, in my opinion, conspiracy theory or whatever. Hell yeah, it's negatively impacted Johnny's career. No shadow of a doubt, right? Now,
yes,
of course, as well, the completely unfounded, untrue allegations against Michael Jackson did affect his career as well. Now, I think doing a little bit of research and speaking to someone behind the scenes, rumor it's been said that Michael Jackson was trying to go for the role of Willy Wonka in the 2005 remake, but they didn't go for him because of the whole 2003 RVZO trial. I mean, it was said that he'd even done a soundtrack for them or something along those lines, and they actually chose Johnny instead. I suppose it kind of, in that respect, was that true? I mean, did it affect Michael Jackson in that way as well, in terms of like his acting career in this Willy Wonka?
Or just anything
situation? Yeah.
Interested in anything? Oh yeah, definitely. There was repercussions to false allegations in that way. I know Michael was one of the people that was really. I don't know what I'm supposed to disclose or not, but I'm just going to say it. Screw it. But in terms of he was in DreamWorks before there was DreamWorks. I should say that with Spielberg, and a false allegation derailed that in that way. So there's a lot that changed Michael's trajectory because of false allegations in that way. So whether it's movie roles or purchasing certain things, no one wants to work with someone that's accused of something that heinously. So of course it affects you. Of course it affects your livelihood, and of course it affects all the opportunities you get. And domestic violence is another thing that no one wants to touch in that way. So I can easily see that the two are very much similar in terms of really changing your trajectory, because you have these big plans of where you're going to go. As Johnny said, he had big hopes for Jack Sparrow and giving him a proper send-off. Well, that's that changes the whole trajectory of what you planned on doing in your life. And you have to be adaptable at that point. And then that changes, and there's a lot in that way. I don't want to sit there and talk about everything that reminds me of my uncle in terms of what Johnny does. I feel for him. I really do. And a lot of people said, why is he doing this? Why, just take the loss in UK, because you look bad enough. And I commend him for really fighting for his name and fighting for his honor. And the fan base, the Johnny Depp fan base, I commend them, because I can tell you, as someone that's been around that, you feel that. I'm sure you felt that, because my uncle felt that fan base love that lets you continue and say, no, I'm going to do this. My reputation means something in that way. And you guys were that for him, for Johnny, and for the MJ fans, for my uncle in that way, that get you through the day, that maybe you smile during the court case because you feel that love. And, because I can't imagine sitting in court and having people lie on you, and you're defending that there's still stuff that people can misinterpret, but you're willing to take that because your name means that much, and your reputation means that much to you.
Well, did Michael Jackson do anything in particular to try and restore, his reputation and his image after all the false allegations?
Well, because I remember, everyone loved Michael Jackson when he died. I mean, after the tributes that poured in, and Michael, yes, there were allegations. He was cleared. Everything was fine. Correct me if I'm wrong, Taj. Where things took that turn was that documentary where now they've pulled the Simpsons episode, and they Weird Al won't do the music, and radio stations pulled it, and everyone was just condemning him because of the documentary they watched and got emotional to, which was filled with lies. That's when things really hit the fan more so than ever, correct?
Yeah, I mean, just the bandwagon, basically, the people jumping on a bandwagon that they don't really even know the facts about in that way, and just following the herd in terms of really
following the herd.
I know. I realized how I said that as I said it. And I was like, I wonder, but I didn't mean it like that. But
now it can't mean anything else.
What you have to realize with us and my family in terms of when that documentary came out, there's no protection against libeling or slandering the dead. So we had no legal repercussion. They could lie about my uncle any way they wanted to, and we couldn't take him to court. And they knew that, and the media knew that. So they could drop the word allege and just 100% go with he's a monster, he's this, he's that, and know that we have no legal recourse to make them eat those words.
Yeah, he can't defend himself, and that's what's really sad about it now. Mike, and well, so that I well said in that, yes, Johnny, I think a lot of people are like, why are you doing this, Johnny? To defend his name, he has to. You got to put it out there, and I commend him too, and really well done. Kim, is there anything else to mention on this portion of the show before we get into comments and other things?
Yeah, the only other thing that happened during the day, and we didn't get clips of it, it was too close to showtime, so I apologize for that. But the last witness of the day was an attorney who represented Johnny Depp in his divorce, and Elaine was questioning her. And it was about 45 minutes of just sheer confusion. In the notes group, we were all kind of just like saying to each other, like, what is the point of this? That it didn't make any sense whatsoever. I think the deposition is going to continue to tomorrow morning, and we're going to get more into the financial side for Johnny's divorce and the fallout of that. So we're guessing that's what's coming, but that was what finished the day.
Fantastic. And we're not done here. I just want to do some simple plugs as we go into our bonus portion of the show. And first up, I want to make sure I plug Mr. Taj Jackson. You can follow him over on Twitter. It's a good place to find him. Taj Jackson 3 on Twitter. Anything you got coming up, Taj, that you want the fans to know about?
No, I hate plugging myself. No, not really. I mean, I'm doing a show in France, but by the time, I think tickets are already sold out, so no.
Well, there you go. I love He's not here to plug. He's here to just be cool and talk about it. So I will use it as an opportunity to plug MJ1 in Las Vegas. Taj, I assume you've seen this show. We're seeing it. Is it? Are we going to be excited? We're seeing it Thursday.
You guys will be. You guys will love it. And one thing I'll say about MJ1 and just the whole Leaving Neverland Wade thing is that was the catalyst, basically. Wade not getting the job to do MJ1, the Cirque du Soleil. That's where he changed from being a champion for Michael and basically doing tributes and everything like that to becoming bitter, was because he thought he had that job in the bag, that he was going to be the head of, director, basically,
choreographer
of that show, and the estate told him no, and he became like this disgruntled employee. I think he thought that it was his right to have it, and that's when he started writing about his alleged abuse.
Yeah, there's so much more, and I saw some people in the comments saying, "Andy, don't mix this." I want to mix it just because I don't like when people are wronged. Is really what it's about, and we're talking about Johnny, but this is going to go on for several more weeks, and honored to have Taj here. And I was also just very honored that how cool sponsoring us here in the suite and give us tickets because, we want to help get the word out. And so very grateful for that and grateful for Taj being here. And I do implore some of you to go do some more homework. I saw some nasty comments, and you're incorrect is what's frustrating. I'm not trying to make this a Michael Jackson show and force you, but I just want the truth. You know what I mean? And I saw someone comment like, "Oh, anybody who's sleeping with kids is the problem." Look, I'm a father, and if I really believed that was happening, I wouldn't be here plugging it so hard. The reason I did it is because Martin Bashir's documentary where that came out was atrociously just fake and forced, and he was tricking Michael. He was trying to get anything out of context. He was forcing weird shots, and Macaulay Culkin himself, and I'm going to go to you, Taj, to help back this up. Macaulay Culkin and Taj, who was in those bedrooms, That was like a fun house, right, Taj? Just this weird thing where people are like, Michael was sleeping with the children. Can you, since we got some people watching and I see some haters in the chat, can you verify as someone who was at those parties that was not as nefarious as it sounds?
Yeah, well, I think also the word sleeping was a media word, because when you think of sleeping with, it's already sexual in American eyes in that way. Who are you sleeping with in that way? So they always use those words, trigger words, as opposed to sharing a bed with someone in that way, because you can share a bed with a dog. That doesn't mean you're sleeping with the dog in that way. And so that's how I always look at it in that way. And Michael always, the bed was a piece of furniture when we were at Neverland, and that we would watch Three Stooges on the bed. We'd watch horror movies on the bed. We'd throw popcorn at each other on the bed. It wasn't this, central piece that people try to make it out to be in that way, but they're definitely using, it's a war on words in that way. So they'll say he slept with children. So automatically you think that sounds sick in that way. So I would just implore both fan bases in terms of, and I tell the MJ fan base too, open up your, just expand your horizons and don't just be so tunnel vision about Michael Jackson, that you don't think it could happen to someone else. And I would implore the Johnny Depp fans to do the same thing. Don't just, as much as you fight for Johnny and feel that he's a victim in that way, and you've had to fight everyone around you that's like telling you that you're wrong and this and that. It's the same thing that we're dealing with. So just be open-minded to that, and don't let what the media has told you to persuade you in that way. Do your own homework and research.
Yeah, and I wasn't just pleasing you, Chaz. When I saw you, Taj, I wasn't like, oh, I got to be nice to Taj. No, I did the homework. I watched the interview.
Oh yeah, you were. Yeah,
and I asked you some tough
questions. Yeah, you were
pretty
pretty hard on me. But,
I asked some tough
but
questions.
I appreciated it.
And you answered honestly, that's what sold me, and I think has made me now a champion as well. Because yeah, I fell for that documentary. I'll be honest, the Martin Bashir one. Yeah. I fell for it, and now it's coming out how he screwed Princess Diana, and he's a scumbag,
other
guys.
families and stuff like that. Yeah, other families as well, and that. So it's yeah, he's getting his comeuppance as well. It's just it's a little sad that it's too late for us, but
But anyway, yes, we will. I'll cover you more. We're focusing on Johnny. Did you have something to wrap up on? Steph, the alternate, please go subscribe and say quick word from Steph. Go ahead.
Hey up, you guys. So yeah, I mean, keep it 100. I was one of those people that when I watched Leaving Neverland, I believed it. Edited, polished, packaged so well. It seemed quite convincing, right? And then I watched. I implore you guys to do it if you haven't done so already. Please subscribe to Andy's sister channel, Hugging the Cactus. He did some interviews, as we've just referenced, with Mr. Taj Jackson, and then when I watched those interviews, I was like, well, hang on a minute, something doesn't look right with this picture anymore. And then the moment that really clicked for me with that Leaving Neverland documentary, where I thought, do you know what? Yeah, it's all BS now against Michael Jackson. Absolutely. Is the documentary Lies of Leaving Neverland. Oh my goodness. Guys, if you're out there and you think Michael Jackson is a monster, I implore you, keep an open mind like I did. Watch that documentary, Lies of Leaving Neverland. It completely breaks it all down, and it shows so many contradictions with Robson and Safechuck. It ain't even funny. Like, seriously, I've kept it 100 all day long. I am a victim of SA. I was attacked when I was a child. And you know what? When I watched Lies of Leaving Neverland, it then clicked. I was like, well, hang on a minute. Do you know what? Me, as an actual victim myself, I wouldn't say those kinds of things that they were saying. It didn't make sense. And it completely just opened my mind, because, guys, I was one of those people, I fell for the media machine of what they were saying, because it was, in a way, and maybe Mr. Jackson, you'll agree, media is very, very good at conditioning people to believe a certain way, especially when it's done over decades, guys, right? So seriously, go against the programming and you might be surprised, because I am so glad, and Mr. Jackson, I'm so grateful that you actually did those interviews with my friend Andy, because that was the catalyst for me to actually start thinking, well, hang on a minute, there's something wrong with this picture. And now I'm so glad to be corrected and be like, do you know what? I can say it now. Michael Jackson is not a monster. He's not one of those monsters, guys. It's not true. Please, I implore you, do the homework, because I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
Well, good. There's a good endorsement, right? I know that's your.
Well,
that's
thank
part of
you
your
for
mission.
doing your homework. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate anyone that's done their homework and willing to be open-minded. That's all I ask in that way.
Yeah, and anyway, thank you guys for this channel covers lots of stuff, and we're going to start easing into other topics and things when we have it. We're going to keep obviously updating you on the Johnny Depp trial, but my gosh, some of you trolls, can we just talk about? No, we're not. We'll talk about whatever we want to talk about.
No.
And I'm going to honor my guest, who I'm so honored to have. Taj, thank you for making time to be here and supporting your uncle and helping me and so many others find like the reality of like, wait a second, the media is spinning this in a way. Did Michael have his issues? Of course. He went through a lot, and we talked about in the interview as well. But did he cross that line? I don't believe so. I really don't. And when you talk, and I've gotten a chance to talk to more people because of, thanks to Taj interviews, and people reach out to me. People who knew him are like, he just would never have done that. And to know that the 5 people who've come forward who said he did, who now the whole media and all of us are condemning him because of, were there for money more than anything else. Like, as a parent, I would never take the money. If I knew, Taj, I'm sorry, if Michael Jackson did that to my son, I'm not taking the money. I mean, sure, I might fight for money and fight for it, but I would make sure that he was put in jail and that he could never happen to any other children. And I'm sorry, when you go through it as a parent, you really want to look deeper. Like, should I be, it falls apart. It starts to really fall apart, and you're like, wait a second, I've been tricked. So that's what we try to do here on this channel. So if you don't like this, then go away. I'd like to dip you now, because we're going to talk a lot about important stuff and try to change your mind, and not change open your mind rather, and hear some other opinions. And I can't. So many people told me, don't defend Michael, Andy. Don't defend Michael. Pfft, I'll defend Michael whenever the hell I want. So mind your own business. If you want to disagree with me, though, hey, it's a free country. But Taj, I give you the final word.
It's important, it's important to fight for injustice, whoever it is, in that way. And when I first started saying justice for Johnny, I was still knee deep in the Michael stuff in that way. And some people were like, what, don't put yourself on the limb in that way. But for me, I saw so many similarities, and I saw that what was happening and the media machine behind trying to just railroad Johnny. And literally with the UK case, it was night and day for me. Like, it was triggering in terms of the publication and the media and what was getting funneled from UK to the American press and what they were reporting on. And I'm like, no, screw it. I'm going to put my stance out because it's important, and I have some kind of influence in that way. And I'm happy that I did do that, because I believe in injustice, it is important. It's important to shine a line on injustice anywhere. Doesn't matter if it affects just me in that way.
Yeah, and thank you, because it's a full turnaround, because that's what we do in this channel. It's not, and if you don't appreciate that, I'd love for you to leave, because I want to be able to talk about whatever we do, and to give Taj his respect. That's why I wanted to connect this, because you were one of the few 2 years ago putting this out there. The more I think about it, the more I realize Wade is just a male Amber Heard, caught in so many proven lies, but still will play the victim for the media and the public. The similarities are so striking. I truly commend Johnny Depp and his strength. And so for the Johnny fans, you're like, why do you keep talking? It's because Taj is an ally in this as well, and he's been experienced in this in more ways than any of you will ever realize. With Michael Jackson, who, no offense to Johnny Depp, was a way bigger star at a global scale. I mean, Johnny Depp's a huge star too, but to get his insight and your wisdom on this was very grateful. So thank you, Taj, for opening up and supporting. And always good to see you, my man. If you need anything, let us know. I know you're trying to work on your own projects, and so when you're ready and you can announce things, please let us know. We'll be plugging them heavily. Guys, don't go anywhere. We're not done, but I'm just clipping this portion of the show to make it a little bit more digestible. Make sure to support It's Kim on YouTube. One word, It's Kim. And look up Taj Jackson, or at Taj Jackson 3 on Twitter, and as well as Steph the Alter Nerd over on YouTube as well. And if you want to watch the rest of the show that I'm about to tape, guess what? Hit the join button, go to the members only playlist, and you'll be able to watch our bonus episode where I go through comments, we talk more about the case, and I got to talk more about Alexandra. And I'm going to tease a little bit more about what's coming on Friday. So if you're watching live, get ready for the bonus show. If you're watching on the replay, hit the join.